Hi. So this is a bit of a different setting than what we initially expected. We had to transition a little bit through the rooms. The audience, the members of Baraza Lab are over in the next room completing watching Softy. But because we had a bit of a late start, we thought we'd regroup in this sort of more intimate setting and have a more in-person conversation, especially since I've known these people for a very long time.
Yes.
And this kind of like maybe pretend familiarity where we're able to forget that there's like a whole bunch of people out there is maybe it suits us a bit better than sitting on the stage. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Shiba Hask, and I'm the film festival director for NBO Film Festival. I'm one of the co-founders together with Vicky Marcia. We were going to be the Softy, the film was going to be the opening film for our festival, but as you know, because of the events of around COVID, we were not able to have our festival, and so we have tried to find different ways to keep supporting and engaging with the film and these amazing people through this period. And part of it is like having these conversations where we dig a bit into our experiences of the film and also like what we'd like to know more about from like you guys about your experiences in being in the film. For those of you who don't know who I'm sitting with here right now, and I don't know why that would be, but here we go. For the uninformed, this is Boniface and Jerry Mwangi, some of Kenya's leading lights, I think, in the activism world, and I would say you're co-founders of Power 254.
Yes,
Yeah. So
and she runs for now,
exactly.
so a lot of work.
Right.
For those who are hiring, can hire me.
I didn't fire him. You made it sound like I
You
fired him.
should have a reference. So right.
You get a visa.
Also.
So
And get more.
So, like really, they will put a lot of their lives on the line in activism around like the injustices in Kenya. Really came into public prominence. Well, Buni, first a photographer,
Yes.
and Jenny, you were in acting before you went into then communications. Yes,
Yes.
and then
Biking.
and biking, right?
Yes.
and then, but the core of your work came together when you were running Power 254 as an organization that was really
No,
championing.
no, it came through friendship. We had like a thing here going
And
on.
then of your work.
No.
I didn't say oh,
I know. Tunaweza na kukatiana hapa and then
hapo ndo ilianza.
tunaweza kukatiana.
I actually heard a lot about that story from I listened to Adele
Adele.
Onyango's podcast. It was very moving. I heard about all your moves. Boni.
Come on, bike.
It's not how I see you, man. I mean,
you are no good at those days.
Renegades.
Yeah.
Exactly, renegade.
And I was kidding. I don't know what you saw.
The bike.
I mean, I knew him when he was a photographer.
Yes,
he was
yes.
skinnier. Like,
It was a paparazzi.
yeah, when you were paparazzi, and we
Right.
suffered. We suffered.
I used to.
Like
used
the
to
hands
dodge
of
him, eh?
Boniface. So exactly. Like, what's going to show up in there?
Look what
you got.
Look what you got.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, we forgave him when he chose wisely when he's back on the show.
Sana. Where would I be without you?
Right? So anyway, I'm really keen to get into the conversation about the film. First of all, I mean, I've watched the film a couple of times now. I have found it, I mean, that's why we were so excited to get the film to be the opening film for the NBO Film Festival. It's an unusual choice because it's a documentary film and people are like, actually fiction films should open festivals. But I think that this film, it's such an incredibly moving story. And I felt it had so much to say to Kenyans. I think we both did. Vicky's sitting over here off camera, so that's who I'm looking at over there. And your words?
Project.
I project. He's telling me to project, so I'll be louder. So we were big fans of the film even before it was released, and we were devastated not to be able to be a part of it. But of course, it's in cinemas right now. It's just gotten extended for another week, which is amazing, and
Yes.
we're really excited. I'm sorry I'm doing all the talking. I'm just trying to get all the push points out
Yeah.
to make sure that people just go see the film. Like go
Please go watch the film,
go
people.
watch the film.
Yes.
And I mean, you don't know whether you're gonna love it or not if you haven't seen it, but just go see it, and then we can have like more and more interesting and meaningful discussions about like what's in that film. But I'm curious now to start with my questions. Like, what was the journey like? And maybe I can start with you, Jerry, about the journey towards deciding to make this film. It's quite a bold thing to decide to let somebody, Sam, so in this case, way into you guys' life. I mean, how did you arrive at the decision that that was going to work out?
The decision originally was to make a manual for activism,
Right?
and it was supposed to be a 5 minutes documentary, and we were right in the heart of, protest, and Kenyans were outraged about so many things that were going on at that time. So there was a lot of documenting that had been happening, and Bonnie has always been very keen on documenting the steps towards the work that we've done, so that either we can use it to show people how they should organize, how they should get together, what kind of forms of art they could use, so that when we go out there, we make we're unforgettable, and we make a big statement that you can't confuse.
Right.
And you see, during that time, there was such a wave where you could see all these protests, and Enyewe, you could not linger.
I couldn't like that.
you
I came
cannot
to
even
meet
know.
several of them, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be killed in these year streets.
You
And
wonder
my
what
mother
you
being
do.
like, please don't go. You have small children.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't
Yeah.
keep on being beaten on our
Yeah.
behalf. Like we also have to, try. Go on.
So Soko had, that's what they were working on. But you see, even I was present. The kids were present when all this was happening. Either we are passing water, we are calling dad to do something, we are late for something, we are scared that this is going to happen. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to come into our house today. Today is that day when we're doing some of this preparation. So by the time the cameras were turning towards me, I had really gotten used to seeing the camera. I had really gotten used to seeing Soko around. I had been talking to Soko as a friend. And so when this story shifted a little bit beyond just the work that we do into how it affects our lives, I struggled with it for a moment. Why? No, you can't do this. This is the private part of our lives. You can't do this. And then he said, you see, you people do not know that there's so much that goes behind putting all this together. People see what they see, People see a meal on the table. They don't know the farmer. They don't know, all the work that went into it. So then when he told me why it's important for him to tell us the story that he wanted to tell, I was like, I see how it's important, because it's not just about me as Jerry. It's not just about my children. It's about the people who stand up to fight for my rights as a Kenyan on so many other different forums, on so many other different fronts. And so for me to tell my story means that I am telling the story of the likes of us who you don't get to hear, you don't get to see. Yet we do so much in the background. And we're not asking to be acknowledged and celebrated, no. We're just saying that there is more to what you see out there, and that even for us who are doing this kind of work, that we do matter. Because I will not lie to you, there's a time I wondered, and I've asked myself, when my time comes to an end, how will people remember me? What will they say I did? Yeah, well, I know the things that they'll say about me. Yeah, but what will they say about me? I had 3 cute kids.
They'll definitely say that, Jerry.
I'm like, I had 3 cute kids. Then you're trying to do an introduction about me, and you don't know what else to say.
But I mean, I think I'm hearing what you're saying. It's like the opportunity for the work and the incredible work that goes into, because people often just see like one position, the activist standing at the front of the crowd, and there's something like usefully democratizing about seeing actually the army and the workforce that goes into making all those positions, like all that. I don't want to call it noise, but it is no, like all that noise. The noise is about
the force behind the action.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, the force is behind the action, making sure that they're seen, and that's really, I think that's profound. What about you, Bonnie? Having been so often on the behind the lens and really conscious, I think, of like how much your power basically in shaping a story from that end. How did you feel about being so vulnerable to somebody else shaping?
So to the subject, for me it was actually hard. So someone had tried to do this before, and they failed because we couldn't agree. They were not respectful. They did not respect boundaries. They did not respect my advice when we went out. And it became like a showmanship. It was like a drama. I said we can't do that. So when we started doing this, the activism manual with Sam, and then Sam started spending time with the kids and said there's a story here. We had ground rules. Like if you don't feel like you're comfortable with you filming something, you can switch off the camera. That's how it started. If you look at the entire thing, we were a very powerful family, and I think one of the things I used to do with Sam completely is to go to church with him. I go to church every Sunday, and I pray. And I said, you can't come to private space because I didn't want to look like a politician who used their religion to say, I'm holier than thou. And so there was like, yes, I'd like you to show our lives, but I'd like my faith to be very private. But he built a lot of trust around us. So if you look at Sam, he's more friends with like my entire family. Like he's a buddy.
He has a personal relationship with
every
each one of us.
Because
with
he
each
knows
one of our
when
kids.
Jabu was 2 years old, now Jabu is 9. When Naila was 3, Naila is 10 now, and then when Smith was about 4 or 5 years old. So he has been there when they were in kindergarten, went to primary school. He's been there for birthdays, so they're like friends. So what that meant when someone was around the camera and it was him, the kids did not have to act or play in a particular manner. They became themselves, and that really helped. And that's why it took him 5 years. 7 years in total, 600 hours of footage to get 90 minutes.
Right.
It's a lot of hard work.
That was actually segues very well into my next question, which is that what is that feeling? 5 years or 7 of your lives that you've lived every moment of, and that you have vivid need to either remember very clearly or gracefully sometimes to forget things, And what was that like to have that volume, that big season of your life? First of all, summarized
into 90 minutes.
Into 90 minutes. There's a power in storytelling which allows you to see things come together. I think that's why we even make movies. You
Yes.
can see what's going to happen. But it's quite interesting to think about what does it mean when it's your life? Like what was that like for you to see your 7 years represented in that? What did you learn from it?
I think I like what you said. There are things that we want to forget. And for me, watching this film, it brought everything back that I had shelved and, some sent out to the ocean, hopefully never to remember. And it was very difficult, but also it showed me things I didn't know about my kids and things I also didn't know about Bonnie. And it reminded me that I am just but one person and I am just a human being and I do not have superpowers because I'm not always present with my kids. I am at work, I am away with my friends, I am asleep. And I cannot be everything for Bonnie, I cannot be everything for my children. And that was humbling and sad, a sad reality, yeah, to see my children struggle and I can't be there for them. And I did not even know some of the struggles they were having until I saw that on screen. So even seeing my whole life displayed, I was like, God, this thing is so big, this screen, someone reduce the volume, reduce the size of the screen. I just felt so exposed. And to think that a lot of people are going to watch, I wanted to edit, just see, let's not
What
do this.
did you not want them to know?
It's everything,
It's out
man. I know, it's everything. It's that, because some of the things that were shot, we were having a private moment. And not just a private moment, I was giving birth. That's in the show. That's in the film. And that was never meant to be out
It's me being
there.
a photographer, so
Yeah.
it's documenting.
And he documents, and I have moments of him when we're doing stuff, him with us. And I did not think that would make it to.
When you marry a cook, they cook for you. When you marry a photographer, they take your
They just
pictures.
take your pictures all the time.
When you marry a musician, they sing for you all the time.
I'm a musician. Yeah.
And what about for you, Bonnie? Like that condensation of time. What did you feel like you were able to see that maybe you wouldn't reflecting back on it and seeing it summarized in that way, what stood out for you?
I think that for me, the pain and the suffering that my family has gone through on camera, because I know I have bits and pieces. I didn't know that when my wife was going to the US, she would see the parents tell them she's leaving. I didn't know that on Father's Day, my son wrote a letter, not to me on Father's Day, but to someone else. I'll not say who, I don't spoil the film. So there's a lot of things that I didn't know about my kids. So there's a bit of reflection after I watched the film, and I'm striving to be a good father. So for me, it's a seminal moment. I'm learning from it as well. I'm not watching it as a movie or as a film of us because I'm able to see my family and are part of my life documented. You know, when you're a leader, you're trying to lead. Sometimes you're like a race course. You have tunnel vision. You're like this.
Blinkers.
You're just going straight, and you forget to see what's right next to you. I was trying to pursue the deals that we lived in. It was like a horse in a race, and was so focused and missed very important moments of my kid's life. And so I'm going to catch up now.
Did you feel like it made you a bad father though?
Did it make me a bad father? I don't think there's something like a bad father. If you ask me, kid, I think I'm the best dad. I've tried to be there for every moment. I've provided. But I felt like I took some risks that I should have ended me being harmed or dead, and that wasn't worth it at that particular moment. So it's not like it's not about playing for the country. It's very important, but I think it's a greater thing for you to live for your country.
Yeah, I believe that too. Better to live for your country. I mean, I think that you guys took an incredible risk with a risk and made a sacrifice, both as putting your lives on the line as activists, or like when I say on the line, I don't mean like sacrificially in that sort of, towards death, but allowing yourself to be vulnerable in a certain way. I remember first seeing you guys, the example of you taking your kids with you on the protest so that other people could imagine their own safety. And I really admire and value how willing you are to lead people down the path that you believe in through your lived examples. And then, so one of the other things that I found profoundly moving about this film is that I think it might be quite groundbreaking in being one of the first times we're able to authentically see a Kenyan family's intimate life on screen. And that was very moving for me because without taking anything away from like people who are in the celebrity culture, there is a version of like a reality show life that is, presenting like look at our perfect life and it's perfect perfections and all its, and its material excellence and all of these things. And this stood in a very interesting contrast to that. And so it plunged us into a very honest moment. And I appreciate, once again, the vulnerability that it took to allow that to happen. So you strike me as people who give and give to your country. I'm glad we decided not to die, but to live for it. Do you ever wonder whether it's worth it? Whether your country deserves it?
I believe our country deserves it, and this is why the reason why we sit in this nice office is because our forefathers fought the British and we won independence. So we are actually the fruits of a struggle and enjoying the fruits of independence because people paid the price. And it is upon us to continue defending that freedom as long as we can. So our responsibility, I think our first calling actually, and that's the reason why Nigeria allowed us to be in the streets, rather me and my friends and everyone else to be in the streets with our kids is because we are fighting for this country and their future. And we must make up for the struggle. Is it worth it? I think that when it's happening, it's very heartbreaking. It doesn't feel like it's worth it. But as you look at the fruits, you believe it's worth it. So, look, for example, Langata Primary School. Langata Primary School today a parking spot, but it's not a parking spot. It's a playground for school kids. You look at Uhuru Park, you look at Kaduna Forest, Wangari Maathai bled for these parks, and they're here. So I think when you ask ourselves, is it worth it? Let me see the bigger picture. because it's worth for this country today. It's a heavy price. I think my wife has cried more than I have. And I'm not planning to cry, but it's actually worth it. Um, and it's a sacrifice. I think a lot about what my wife has gone through, and it makes me feel bad. But in the struggle, man, sometimes there's a price to be paid, and you hope you don't get casualties. But along the way, there are casualties, and you pray that you're not one of them. But my has something to say.
Yeah, Jerry,
I think
what
for
about
me,
you?
in terms of
worth
is it worth it?
Mm.
When I look at my kids, I know it's worth it because they will not live in the same way we live. And whatever our struggle succeeds in doing, that is a step in the right direction. But also, even when I hear my kids talk, they ask me questions I would never have thought to ask my parents. And I know that we're doing the right thing because our children have become very conscious and they're very aware.
I can
not
attest
just-
to that completely.
you
they're
know?
most aware and politically conscious.
And they'll ask
Yes, exactly.
questions
Yeah.
and they'll wait for a proper answer, an answer that makes sense at least. So for me, when my kids ask those kinds of questions, I know that it's worth it because if it was business as usual, as it is for a lot of Kenyans, then it is not worth it. Yeah. But what makes it worth it is what he said, and also that when we look at our kids, we're like they have to get better than what we got.
It's amazing that whole idea that you just change the framing of the way that they look at what's possible.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like actually that is change.
Yeah.
So you might be changing things in maybe a slower burn way than you expected, but it's happening. It's happening and it can't be undone. With regard to just the film, what is it that you hope will be achieved with this film?
Wow, for me, it's several things. One, for me as Jerry, is that people will see Jerry and not just Boniface Mwangi's wife.
I think we've always seen Jerry.
No, there are people who just
Yeah.
say Boniface Mwangi's wife, right?
Actually,
And
you
so-
walk into a room, people say to me, and they be,
Yeah.
Oh.
Until they say that's Boniface Mwangi's wife, I'm like, oh, hi.
Yes.
And they don't even care to know my name. So my name is Jerry,
Mm.
and I want people to know that.
Her name is
My
Jerry.
name is
and-
Jerry.
yeah,
which means
yeah.
what? Daughter?
Daughter of a warrior.
Daughter of a warrior,
Yeah.
right there.
I have a name. I'm not just Boniface Mwangi's wife. I'm so much more than that. And I want people to see women that stand beside strong men and bold men and outspoken men, not just as their wives, but know their names, get to know who they are. Yeah, get to know what they're doing as well, and do not refer to them as
Somebody's
wife.
wife.
nannies.
Yeah.
They're not a decoration.
Yeah.
Then also that we can take a moment as Kenyans and even just I guess globally to see the people that put their lives on the line for freedoms that we want, for change that we want to see. Because a lot of Kenyans, a lot of people, let me stick with Kenya. A lot of Kenyans will stay and we want so much change, we want so many different things, but we're not going to ask for them. We're not doing anything differently, but we're requiring the likes of Akina Boniface Mwangi, na our wenda kwa streets waende and do the things they do, and then we shall stop being, things will change for us who are doing nothing. My hope is that people will see that the need to rise now, an urgent need to get out of their, I don't know if it's fear spaces or cocoons or wherever they are. Come out and let's stand together in hundreds and thousands, in millions, because it will take more than my
Yes, yes.
family. It will take more than your family, my family, the people here, even in this screening, to change this country. It will take all of us. And sometimes you just need to show up. That's all. Just show up. A lot of people in the front lines have done so much more. So you just need to show up because it will take numbers. And like you see in the film, there are costs to it, and count your costs, but just come, show up.
Do you want us to run out to the other side? Or
We are actually supposed to be. We're going to do just one, maybe two more questions, and why? Because they finished watching the film on that side, so we're going to transition in a little while. But I have a couple more questions for you
Sure,
before
go
you
ahead.
run off, and I don't want our online audience to miss out on
Wasent
this,
kubadwa hapa, maybe.
on this thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, Bonnie, did you want to answer the same question? What profoundly one thing that you want the film to do for people?
Me, I want voters and the police to see themselves. I want the voters to see how they treat candidates and how the candidates end up becoming who they become because of the demands the voters make from them. So if I'm campaigning to be a member of parliament for Starehe, instead of asking me my vision for Starehe, you ask me for money. And then you harass me and ask me what tribe, what part of the party are you supporting? Are you supporting this man or this man? So you put me in a tribal cocoon. Then you say which party. So from the word go, you don't care about my interest for you or what I need to come and do for you. You care about the bigger politics that will never help you. Then you care how much money I give you. And so to a level where most politicians disrespect voters because of the treatment they get. Because they know very well it was transactional. I paid you to vote for me. So you have no right to demand anything from me. And I go to parliament, I'm going to go and make money from you. And I'm going to go and steal CDF money and I'm going to demand for big cars and a big house because of the experience they go through. It's very humiliating. Because you meet voters who are just asking you for money right on your face. And they say, if you don't give me money, I want to vote for you. And they're selling their votes. And so I want voters to see actually, number one, I know they see voting as a big event. But the bigger event after voting is for you to hold the leaders accountable every single day. You have to realize that when you vote, it is your civic duty to ensure whoever you elected works for you. Now, if when you sell your vote, you have no right to ask those questions. That's number one. Number two, police brutality. Police in this country have no common sense. They have no reasoning capacity. You are at a peaceful protest holding a placard. Why do you have to shoot someone or beat someone or arrest someone for protesting? And their rights to protest are protected by the Constitution. They don't say our leaders to see themselves. Look at the poverty you have in this country. Look at the issues you have in this country. And all you're busy talking about is how you're going to share power. And so hopefully the overall goal for this film is for Kenyans to see themselves and change their ways. If you think your ways are perfect and if the film represents how you want people to be, and that's all good. But if you watch the film and see there's something I can do to change my community, to change my village, then go forth, change your village, change your community, and together, if we work collectively together, we can change this country.
I have two more questions. One is a little bit of a challenge. It seems like there's a natural progression that happens in Kenya with people who want to effect change. As soon as you gain some prominence in some field, you gain prominence in activism, you gain prominence in music,
Yes.
you gain prominence in football.
Mhm.
I don't know, the filmmakers seem to have escaped it, but you gain a certain level of visibility, and you're like, that's it, I'm going to go into politics now, as if it's almost the most natural progression. And I've wondered, because why it is that we're locked into that. Like what happened therefore that it switches? Because you say in the film, I can't stand politicians, somewhere early in the film, right?
Yeah.
And it begs the question, then why decide to try to be one? Right? I mean, we're friends.
It's a beautiful question, actually. So, I was never planning to become a politician. I thought I could become an active citizen, then I become a public servant and serve the people. And when I was very about becoming Mheshimiwa. So I realized actually that when we used to protest, we protest parliament, hold placards, deliver letters, then they're thrown in the trash. The letters never even put to the speaker. They never used to take us seriously. And I thought, if I join politics, I'll be able to go into parliament and become the voice of the people inside parliament. So bring the change from within. And when we looked around, we realized there's no political party that represented our values. Then together with a couple of friends, we formed the Ukoli Party, which is the True Party. And we shared our manifesto and our vision for this country. And we said we have formed a party that is formed. We're going to vet our candidates and we're going to go and change how politics is done. And I realized, you know what, I'm not a politician, I'm not rich, I haven't stolen, I don't sell drugs, I have no intention of stealing. So how do I fund my campaign? I went back to the people and said, I'm going to work for you. And I'm going to parliament to represent the people. So I want you to fund my campaign so you can own my voice in parliament. And that's what we did. We fundraised for the campaign. People funded me and the other candidates in our Ukoli Party. And I was going to change how politics is done. Because what people tell me when I protest and people tell me when they do things, they say, we hear you, but you still can't change this country from outside, coming from within. So we said, let us go to parliament then. We offered ourselves as candidates. But when we did, you asked, are you supporting this man or this man? And if you're not supporting any of those people, we're not going to vote for you. So Kenyans must be allowed to dream that things can change. And so Kweli Party was offering that dream. And then the reality that there are candidates in this country who can vie on an issue-based politics and don't bribe and get into politics and lose or win and they don't change. Because I went into politics with my integrity intact, and other candidates in the Kweli Party. And all of us did not win, but we learned a couple of lessons. But it came out clean. I can still walk down the streets. No one is asking me for money because I wasn't ready to go and make money or to bribe voters. And the money that I spent during the campaign, I actually sat down even with other people and said, should we play politics as it is and then change? Instead, I said, no, if you play dirty politics now, that means you have ruined your entire ideals and your entire values. So value-based politics, you offer that. I still can't stand politicians. I don't hang out with politicians. They're not my friends. It is true. You don't find me having a drink with a politician. Tunaambiana nini?
So the campaign did though cost you guys a lot, like
Yes.
emotionally,
Money.
financially.
Yes.
It dragged you through a really challenging personal experience, I think, for both of you, and something that made you really confront really whether the thing that you are offering. I think we talked about this, not before that. It really like, what am I giving? What is it that I'm offering? Why would people devalue me like this?
Yeah, true.
Right?
They dehumanize you.
Yeah. And Jerry, like, I want to put this question to you. Do you? It's like the question I asked before. Was it worth it? Do you regret that Bonnie ran for office?
Two things. I wasn't there during the campaign, like all of it. We had to leave the country because our lives were being threatened.
Exactly. So I mean, the stakes are high all around.
Yeah. But do I regret it that he ran for office? Not at all.
Okay.
Because for me, we won before the elections. And our win was not in the ballot that we were declared winners. Our win was that we ran a clean campaign. Our win was that we were funded by the people. So people believed in ideals. Our win was that there was a lot of civic education around our campaign. People got to find out things they did not know. I think we gave people hope. Just, gosh, I can hope. Gosh, things can change. Just that dream, we ignited a hope within people that maybe was dead. Yeah, we arose that kind of dream, and I hope that even in the next elections and in the years to come, that is what they take to the ballot. That it's not who has given money, it's not who is popular or prominent, like you said, but it's somebody who comes and says, what are you going to do for us? It's not about, and you can't come there and in fact people will push people away. Politicians will come and just flaunt their flashy big cars. They will want to engage with ideals. They will want to engage with issues that affect them. So for me, that's what we want. We want the hearts of the people, those who live in Starehe and those who live away, who don't even vote in Starehe and who don't even live in Kenya. We want the hearts of many. And for me, that was worth it. It was painful. It was terribly painful, but it was worth it.
Well, the value for me certainly has been also your ability to show us what that political space looks like from the inside. I mean, I'm not naive to the fact that there is a version of the story that's always told by the storyteller, but certainly I felt like it was the most intimate access that we've gotten to see of what the struggles of people who have been in the business of trying to change our country, whether it's on the streets, but also trying to change it from within the system, what the rigors of that journey looks like. And my hope is that it builds deep empathy for those people who you imagine maybe they don't have a chance to win, but you're like, wow, it actually depends on me deciding that is the person that I want to get behind, and that is really what I hope that people are able to recognize in that film. The massive numbers of individual committed struggles that many Kenyans are putting into transforming things for the better. I could dominate the conversation for a lot more, but I'm wondering whether we should move to our other audience. I think I kind of want to leave there to be room for folks to watch the film. Watch the film. I can't say that enough. Watch the film, and I think you guys are still on like media tours.
Yes,
like,
and if you watch the film, tell us about it.
Yeah.
Be our ambassadors.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
share your experience, whether negative or positive. Just say it.
Yes, you're ready for people to watch it and be like,
We are fine with that, actually.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Already out there, so just
I
say what
think,
it
me
is.
and my wife have like tough skills. You can't break us.
yeah, I mean, like there are people who hate watch things. Be
Yeah,
like, let me
actually,
go
people
and
can't even
see.
stand me.
Let me go
So,
and see how he is.
go and get something to judge, and say no to BBI. BBI ni makaratasi.
Okay,
End of the commercial.
I think that is on that note with my logo in the corner.
So how do we walk? Go walk on the other side.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna.
maybe
Am I
finish
can
off.
pose
Is there anything final you two want to say?
Well, he said he's fine with it. Say anything.
No,
Final
I
you.
have to say my final bit
Okay.
about.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
We're so grateful for you guys for taking such
Thank you.
time and
Yeah.
always.
But I think for Nairobi Film Festival, what you're doing is very important. So thank you so much. And for them to exist, Midis over here
Yes,
and
right.
that here, what's your name? Kedolwa. For them to exist, actually, you need to go and watch films and promote Kenyan films. Then there are theaters that don't host Kenyan films. Shame on you. You know to abaya sana. We will need to know the owners of those film theaters. It is very wrong. You live in this country, you eat our taxes, we protect you by Kenya Police protects you. You shit in our sewers, you drink our water, show Kenyan films. We shop there because you're Kenyan. So please show the films.
In fact, let me add one question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your movie was rated 18.
By Paul Stash.
Yes.
So the reason why they
It's
rated
not
them.
ask the question. Let's
Yeah, no. So maybe
I was
okay. You
ready to
can
go.
please tell anyone who's watching about the rating, how it came to be that it's rated 18. Like, why is it rated 18, and how you feel about that. This is for both of you.
Because
Because also it means your children cannot see themselves.
They have already done
Oh,
that.
but
Because you guys
I
are
know.
close.
Yeah.
But because
But legally.
my wife is a diplomat in our family, and let us speak. Nikiongea, unapata notice from Paul Stash tomorrow.
We'll get the 18 plus rating for this video, right?
For this video.
Exactly.
So Jerry, tell them.
No, first of all, the film had to be seen by children. They needed to see it because it's about their lives as well. But the reason it was rated 18, which we completely disagree, is that they said there was a lot of violence, which is what Kenyans live through every day, which is what a lot of Kenyans have to live with, going home or are met in their homes, which is why we are in the streets about. Yeah, and for them to think we're wondering who they're protecting with that censorship. So it is very wrong to have been given that kind of rating because we believe everybody should watch this film, every Kenyan, because you live in Kenya, and I think they're afraid that when Kenyans see this film, they will see why they need to come out, because they will be emboldened to come out and fight for their rights, to fight for human rights and to fight for justice. So they rated it that because of violence. Because of their own violence.
Police brutality.
Yes.
It's actually mostly
Police
We
violence.
use
footage
Yes.
and recording of things that actually happen.
Yeah.
Documentary footage, right?
But they're
So-
trying to not be seen because there's nothing else in that film that would make even you think that you shouldn't bring your kids to
We're
watch
all wearing our clothes in the film.
throughout.
Yeah. all
Yes.
the time.
Yeah.
So,
And we're not using bad language
no.
that would say it can't.
Those images in the film actually were in the post-election violence exhibition that we did across this country. Over 2 million Kenyans have seen those pictures.
Yeah.
So when we talk about police violence and brutality, it showed every day on news.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what they should stop, which they should ban in this country is poverty. Poverty is the worst form of violence. So ban poverty, but surely there's one that is poor. If you do that, you're good to go. So they can focus on poverty, not the film, and not our music.
And on that cheerful note, with a message sent loud and clear about the changes we want to see, do call out cinemas who are not showing the film in your area to make sure they show Kenyan, like to ask for it, ask for your film to be
Garden
for
City.
this film to be
It's Garden City, Junction.
Garden City and Junction.
Yes, shame on you.
Okay, so here
Let's
we
say
go.
it.
Yeah, so some film. It seems some cinemas have a blanket policy about not showing Kenyan
It's
films.
fucking racist. Now they know.
It's wrong.
It's racist.
It's also racist.
We are in a black people country and you're black.
And the stories are about us. I mean, a
Us,
film
we
can't
people
go
look like this.
and reach a platform of excellence
Yeah.
Yeah.
outside in the world and be not a good in the, I mean,
Say no to racism.
Otherwise, let's also boycott those theaters.
Yes.
Because if you can't show what we want to see, then why are we supporting those kind of businesses?
And
Let's
Kenyans on
boycott
Twitter,
them.
let us know their names. Who owns these places? Maybe it's a black person eating a black person. It is wrong.
okay, so ask
Bye
people.
bye.
But go see it in the cinemas that are showing it because we love them. Prestige, Motion City, Anga Cinema are all
Diamond
showing it,
Plaza.
and Diamond Plaza, and
And Westgate is starting to show tomorrow.
And Westgate is starting tomorrow. So,
And Rupa Molly,
And
in
yeah,
Dorset. Yes.
yes. So
Nyali is also coming.
go see it at those places as well. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.